Hello, my name is Mike Larson from San Luis Obispo, California, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about posing couples in a non-traditional way. Photographers photograph their couples right together, and we kind of want to break that tradition a little bit because we like to do stuff different. I think the reason why it makes it cool is because it provides variety. It provides a non-cliche way to get people to do things differently. I can utilize depth of field. I can utilize different lens focal lengths to have them partially cropped, not cropped at all, to have them be in the background, or to use them just outside of the background to interact with the couple. So here's the first one we're going to do, but let me introduce you to our couple real quick. All right, this is Anna and Kevin, and they're from Austria. So the first shot that we're going to do here is I'm going to have you positioned right here. Excellent. And then Kevin, I'm going to have you back here. All right. For this shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him subtly adjusting his tie and looking down, and I'm going to have you looking down at your flowers that you'll have in your right hand, and just hold your hands down relaxed, and you're looking down at your flowers, liking them a lot. Occasionally pulling your hair back behind your ear like this. Perfect. Good job, guys. One of the tricks when they are standing closer together is I like to keep them, have their hands down. Sometimes they may have a tendency to hold them up, and that just doesn't look natural. That looks completely 103% fake. So I want to keep things natural, and I'm going to have him grab the dress. Turn this way a little bit. There's kind of a trick with the dress. If he grabs right about behind her knee and then holds up, move forward a little bit, he'll be able to grab and hold the dress with his hand down, relaxed, without it dragging. Otherwise, if the bride grabs too low or too high, they're kind of like doing this as they walk around, and that doesn't look very attractive. So I always try to get them to hold the dress in a complementary way. Whether she's holding it or he's holding it, I want to make sure that it looks good. So that way he can walk single file behind her. So you're walking right behind. And I want to be able to see his face just over her shoulder. With his backhand, he's actually going to be tickling her right up underneath her armpit as they walk, to kind of get a little bit of engaging and interaction. So that way, as we walk, which they'll be walking slowly, we'll get some movement and some interaction. That way it's not all the same exact pose. We kind of move things up and get a little bit of variety. All right, so you're going to be walking and tickling her. Ready? This is another pose that I like to do, where I'm just going to be getting in my frame from here and down, and this one makes it look like they're walking. So just take one step forward on the count of three. Ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Perfect. That gives a little bit of variety, and I like the way that looks. So this next shot, I'm going to have them on each rut of the road, and the goal here is to have them be separated a little bit further distance. And so what I'm going to do is, this is actually gets started important on what lens I use. As I move back, I do have some kind of rubbish or things that I don't want in the shot, because I like simple backgrounds. I don't want that stuff in the background. So I'm aware now of what lens I'm using. So I'm going to be backing up and grabbing this with a 50mm lens as opposed to a 35 or a 24 or a fisheye, because I don't want to get that in there. So with a 50, I'm narrow enough where my background won't include some of the buildings and stuff in the background. Anna, look right here. There you go. Nice. Now what I'm doing with this shot specifically is using the center of the road to create leading lines that go right in between the couple and fade off into the distance. So the reason why I like to have this kind of setup is I'm thinking post-production. In my blog, I'm going to have, say, some images. Since I shot this vertical, I'm going to have, say, an image of them apart on one side and an image of them together on the other side. So I'm thinking of this as, how am I going to get variety so later I can compose a bunch of images with more variety? Let me show you some other examples I have of separating couples. We're going to go to the beach. So we're not quite at the beach yet because I get distracted, which usually happens As a photographer, I'm always seeing things, and this I saw earlier, and I just had to do it before we went to the beach. So this shot, I have them positioned not only depth-wise, but I'm utilizing some foreground with some of this shrubbery and leaves to be able to block some of the foreground. I'm having them in the middle ground, engaged with with holding the leaves, and I have them kind of at a distance too, which gives me kind of a sweet shot. Totally different, but it kind of perspective. Since he's taller, this is a really good way to incorporate people at different heights by using depth. And then smile a little bit more. There you go. If you look at the results, you'll notice that as I had them at that depth, it does provide a little bit of a dynamic kind of look to the shot, which makes it interesting, I think. And especially when we had them walking, it was kind of cool because that actually starts to change the distance. And I always enjoy getting some shots of them when they're separated, where they're at. But then engaging walking immediately changes it. So then the next sequence of shots you have isn't just the same thing over and over again. And now, for sure, we're onto the beach. So right here, what we're gonna do is I have them set apart about 15 feet. I am gonna be shooting with a shallow depth of field, about 1.4 or 1.6. And my goal is that as we're walking, I'm going to be able to get cool shots of him, some cool just guy chill shots with her in the background, because this is where she's gonna be totally blurred out completely. But I want just the shape that it looks like she's still there, so it gives context to my shots of him. I always shoot at manual, and right now my camera settings are 5,000th of a second shutter speed, 1.4 and 1/60th of a second. ISO is 160. All right, ready? And action. You're looking right at me. Vary your expressions. Go ahead and adjust your tie. Look down. Nice. Go ahead and put your hands in your pockets. Look off towards the beach. Nice. Yeah, so this shot, which I really, really like, is just a shot of him looking down, and we just kept going through a variety of different kind of, I don't want to say poses, but different things to do, adjusting the tie, adjusting the suit. And I probably shot about, I don't know, almost 70 shots in that sequence. And we just got a sweet shot of them individually. Being that we're walking, one of the other reasons why I shot a lot here is they're at different distances and depth, so they're gonna be moving around for this kind of lifestyle shot where they're separated. So I had to get a variety, because as you see through, sometimes they were out of the frame. And I like this last one where I just happened to get the stars collide, and they came out perfect. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna be walking parallel or perpendicular to the beach. And my goal for this shot is I wanna have them a little bit separated again, but I'm gonna be framing different parts of them where I'm only gonna be getting 3/4 of their body to a half of their body. And I'm gonna be getting some of the shoes, some of the hands, some of the faces, but only with one other person's limb in the shot. You'll see how this turns out later, and I think you'll like it. And action. You're looking at each other, slower, slower, slower. You're laughing. Hands out of the pocket. A little closer together. So that specific shot just seemed to be a little bit of shooting dangerous without their faces. You know, shooting risky. Had them run away. They could have tripped. They would have fallen on sand, which, you know, isn't that big of a deal. But they had fun. They were playful with each other, and so the bottom line is we ended up with the shot I wanted, and then I tried something in the end. And I think a goal for you as you're shooting is to always try to do something you didn't do that you haven't done before, and then run through it. And at the end, just do something spontaneous and random. And I think you're gonna like what you get, because sometimes that last shot may be the inspiration for a whole nother shoot. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use separation for the element of surprise. And in this shot, I'm gonna have her jump on his back, but he has no idea. Go. All right, so what we're gonna do to wrap up today's shooting separately is to actually shoot them separately, literally. And we're gonna take each one of them And I'm going to do a couple different shots. One shot I'm going to do is just kind of like a normal shot, but then I'm going to do some shots assuming I'm going to put them together. So I'm putting 2 individual photos, diptych, side by side, and final presentation. Today's whole thing was on separation, and I hope it was helpful. I hope that it got you thinking just about doing stuff differently versus just kind of putting couples in the traditional pose together. I want to thank our couple. Thank you guys for helping out today. And as you can see, just summing up today, today was all about separation, depth. It was also about how they're interacting while they're separate. And I got some spontaneous stuff. And I think the coolest part about today is even though I was trying to do things different and trying to do different, at the end of doing something different, I just did something else different out of, I don't know, it could have failed. But my whole thing is I'd rather fail at doing something exciting and different than never try and never know what I could have gotten. You can also check out more images at the end of this film. I'll show some examples of what I did, so you can check those out. Additionally, if you want to check out my blog, mikelarson.com/blog for more updated inspirational stuff that's there. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Mike Larson Inc., and I'll be posting cool shoots when I post them on my blog that'll be launched and released information-wise there. Thank you again for coming, and hope to see you next time on another episode of Photo TV.